Welcome to my Introduction to Linux series. I'm going to be teaching this assuming that you know absolutely nothing when it comes to Linux, when it comes to Unix, and when it comes to the command line. So I'm assuming you are a rookie. We're going to move at a relatively slow pace. I am going to be answering all questions in the comments, so leave them and I'll get back to you in under 24 hours. And I'll try to limit the amount of topics per video so things do not get overwhelming. Now, things like this, the command line and these operating systems where you don't have icons, you don't have all those crazy things you see with a Mac or a PC. It looks intimidating at first, right? Because, it's just different. And you might think that it's useless to learn something like this, but it's not, because there are still advantages for operating systems like this, including the fact that it's just really quick and it's really efficient. You don't have things that you don't need, right? You only have the things that you need in terms of the fact that it's just really simple, and also in the fact that you tell it what you want to be running. It's not going to be running a bunch of crazy programs on its own. It's going to you have to tell it what you want it to run, and we'll see a bit of stuff of that like that in the next few videos. So right now we are on a Linux server. This is my school's Linux server. So I want you to ignore these first two words that we see over here. These are not going to, you probably will not see these with whatever you are running. So just concern yourself with this little squiggly line right here. And we're going to learn what exactly that means in just a few moments. Now, I think the best way to start off and the best way to learn is just by jumping into it. We have to work with these commands. And these commands that we're going to type in, they're going to be programs. So the commands that we use, they're programs themselves, which might seem like a bit of a crazy concept at first, but it's going to start making a bit more sense when we start using them together. So for now, just call these commands commands. We'll just call them like that. So you can take a piece of paper, right? The first thing you write is that commands are programs. First thing that you write. Then I want you to write down each command that we're going to see, because if you memorize those commands and you know what they do, it's going to make this whole process a lot easier, especially if you're in a software systems course right now. It's going to make going through the whole thing really easy. Let's go ahead and get started here. Enough. We'll start off with the first command we are going to learn, which is ls, and we are going to type that in, and great, absolutely nothing happened. Now, what is ls? Commands are going to be short for what they are doing. So ls is going to be short for the word list. So ls is going to list all of the folders, and here we're going to call them directories, and files that you have in the current area that you are. We have nothing, so we need to go ahead and make something. So we are going to go ahead and use the command mkdir, which is make directory. We'll have to tell it what we want to call it. I'll call this YouTube. Remember, it is case sensitive. I'm going to call it like that, but I will remember that's how it's called. So if I want to do something with it, I will need to make sure that I have the capital Y and the capital T. And once again, nothing happened, because remember, we don't get anything for free. It's not going to confirm that we had the directory made. We need to, ask it to show us what directories we have. It's not going to baby us. We need to go ahead and ask for it. So we're going to use ls again, which is going to list everything. And now we see that we have the YouTube directory created. I don't like the font color here. I wish I could make it a bit lighter. I probably will end up doing that some way through this series. I'll see if you guys can see that or not. But anyways, I wish it would be a bit lighter. So now we actually have a directory. So to access that directory, do we go ahead and double click on it like we would on a Mac or a PC? Nope. Remember, we are only moving with our commands. It's the only way we can move around. So how do we get inside of a directory? We are going to use the command cd, and this is going to be current directory. You're going to be able to tell it what you want the current directory to be. And I say I want that current directory to be YouTube. So cd space YouTube, and we're going to click on it, and now we see that this little slash here, this little, not slash, but this little squiggly line is now going to have /YouTube after it. So this little squiggly is going to mean something, which we're going to see in a moment. But let's make a few more directories inside of this YouTube folder. So we're going to use the command, once again, mkdir. We are going to make, let's make videos. Let's make a few of them. We're going to make, let's see, audio. And let's go ahead and make thumbnails, right? So those are the three pieces of creating a video. So now we have created those three directories. If I use ls, and remember, I'm inside of the YouTube directory right now. Now I'm going to see I have audio, thumbnails, and videos. So let's say I want to go into the videos directory. Now we see that we have this little squiggly line. Then we have /YouTube/ videos. So what exactly is that squiggly line, right? That squiggly line is going to represent your home directory, and that's going to be the top level of your user directory, right? So just think of yourself on, one of your normal computers, right? You have a bunch of users. You might have, say, one computer for your family, and every single person in your family will have their own user, right, that they'll have their own files under. So think of it like that, right? The top level of your specific account on a Linux server. Remember, I'm a student and I am on my school's Linux server. So the top of my files, right? The top where I can access, essentially, well, the things where I can mess around with and put my work, is going to be represented by this squiggly line. And that's actually a character that you can go ahead and use. So if you want, you can go ahead and use CD with that little squiggly line, and that's going to essentially represent the top level. And now if I went and used ls to list that things that are around me, we'll see that I'm back up to where I was over here. So the squiggly line, the tilde, it's the thing that you see on top of the N in Spanish, right? That little squiggle, that is going to be your home directory. That's the top level of your user files, and that's not the top level of the Linux system. This will be the last thing that I talk about. I'm on my school server right now, right? So I have my class that I'm in right now, and then I will obviously have the other people who are in my class. So if I were to go up one level from my my folder over here, which have all my work inside of it, then I'm going to see the other people in my class. If I were to go up one more level, then I'll probably see the other, bunch of folders for the other years of all the students. If I went up another level, I might see all of the different classes, right? So the actual courses that you can take. If I went up another level, I might see all of the different teachers in the faculty, for instance. If I went up another level, I might just see, a bunch of just different folders and things. If I keep going all the way up, eventually I'll get to the top of the Linux server, and that is represented by, so I'll write CD if I wanted to go there. I'm not going to go there just because I don't want to confuse you guys too much. But if I want to go to the absolute top of this Linux system, right? So I'm going further up than what just my user files consist of. I'll represent that just by a slash. So if I want to go all the way up to the top, I would just do CD with that slash, and that would bring me to the top, and then I would have to work my way all the way down if I wanted to. So that's all I'm going to use in this video, right? Just keep things nice and simple. Show you a few commands. Remember, those commands are going to be programs. So ls, it's a program. mkdir, it's a program. And cd, it's a program. I know that seems really strange at first, and that's one of the concepts that's difficult to grasp. But we saw how we can move around over here, and you really got to get that sense, like I said, of folders inside of folders, right? Directories inside of directories, because that's how we're going to be moving around. And if you can grasp that concept, then things are going to be pretty easy to understand. So thanks for watching, and this was the first video, and I will have some new things to talk about in the next one.